Hey guys, it's Robin Eckersley. I just realized I wave like a really goofy clown every time I every time I sign on to Facebook Live. So, and obviously you know who I am because my profile is attached to my live camera. But so please excuse the goofiness and self-introduction. As a reminder, yes, it's Robin. Yeah, so I just wanted to jump on here. I don't think I've done a Facebook Live in 2018. And I just want to see how you're settling into 2018. I can't believe that it's almost February. Like, it's so soon, and I can't understand where January is gone. But that's a good thing because we're getting the year rolling, everything is moving. Pretty much everyone I know is or has been fighting off the cold or the flu, including myself. If I sound a little nasally, I'm just getting off of a head cold myself. And thankfully, touch wood, I have not been hit with the flu, but basically everyone I know has. So hope you guys are happy and healthy and that 2018 is going well for you so far. How are your resolutions coming? The ones that you made for New Year's? Have you been actually creating changes from these resolutions? Have you been building some new habits? Or have you kind of forgotten about them? I'm more of a goal setting person. I'm not much of a resolutions type person. But for those of you who take it seriously, I hope that that's been really useful for you and that you're picking up traction with those. And something that I wonder about in general, and for you specifically, is I'm wondering how you made those resolutions in the first place. How did you come to choose those particular resolutions? You decided that those were the changes that you're going to make this year. Why did you want to make those changes? Kind of what was the driving force for you? If you want to share that with me, I'd be happy to hear it. A lot of times when I did make resolutions in the past, it was more because it's like, okay, here's a list of all the things I want to change about my life, and I'm just going to format them and frame them in resolution form. And that, I guess those will be my resolutions. And that's kind of how I approached it. I took everything I didn't like about my life or myself or my habits and was like, okay, now's the perfect time for me to have an excuse to change them. So that used to be me, but I'm wondering how you guys, if you did make resolutions or if you have any goals for 2018, how did you come to those decisions? And so I'm excited for 2018 because even though I don't do resolutions, I do set lots of goals. And I have been excited because one of my goals for the end of December was to reformat my programs. And so half of my business is coaching, half of my business is consulting. And for tonight, I just wanted to be publicly, yay, because I was able to put together these new programs and launch them, and 2018 is here, and I'm super pumped about them. So they're 3 different programs. One is called Spark, one is called Glow, one is called Blaze, and each of them are increasing in intensity and increasing in the work that we do and the transformation that I hope for you to gain through those different programs. In general, I focus on impact. I focus on helping other women design their purpose and living that purpose. Because one thing to be like, okay, my purpose in life is X, Y, and Z, but if you're not living it, what's the point of having a purpose, right? So it's a 2-step process. Well, it's way more complicated than a 2-step thing, but ultimately what we work on is designing your purpose, creating it, and then coming up with strategies for you to actually live it across your life, not just in your spare time. A lot of us feel like, well, real life doesn't let me live my purpose, live my passion. And, I have to save that for the weekends, or I have to save that for when I have enough time or enough money. And we find these things that are very normal and very acceptable to get in the way of what our actual chosen, purpose or mission that we want to take on is. So that's what I help people do. That's what I help specifically women do. I do work with the occasional guy, but I focus mostly on reaching out to women. And what we do when we do this work around purpose, and when we do this kind of soul search, it's kind of soul searching, but it's also soul designing, I think. Like we take, I believe we take on a mission. I believe that we choose what our purpose is, and that it's not so much a discovery process, it's about a creation process. And what happens when you start to live that purpose is that you start to form new habits. You start to make your decisions, I'm talking about even the littlest decisions, you make them differently because you're coming from this place of purpose. You're coming from this really solid why, and that's driving everything. That's driving how you see the world. That's driving how you choose what to eat. That's driving how you choose to treat yourself when you get up in the morning. So depending on what your purpose is, it's going to play out in different ways, right? So when you have that, when you do the work to put that in, you're, like I said, you're forming new habits, you're making your decisions differently, you're feeling confident in those decisions. You're not just making decisions and moving through life as like, well, I guess, I'll do this today, or I guess, I'll call this person, or I guess I'll eat this today. Everything, you come from a place of confidence because you know what you stand for and you know what your life is about once you've done the work to design that purpose, because it's going to be something that you feel very connected to and that you feel like this is meaningful for me. This is meaningful enough for me to devote my life toward this particular mission, this particular purpose. So many of us, I would honestly venture a guess to say that most of us are actually moving through life and making decisions based on what kind of sounds right, or what we think we're supposed to do, or that we should do, or that someone else has kind of given us these expectations of how we're supposed to live and spend our days. And what happens is that the next thing you know, you're feeling like something is missing. Like when you have that moment where you kind of like break out of this kind of, I call it the hamster wheel, where you're just going and going and, well, I guess I'll take this job, and because I'm with this person, I guess I'll get in a committed relationship with them, and you start to kind of go through the motions, and you kind of end up in this life, and you're like, how did I get here? How did I even end up here? Because it's been a series of unintentional decisions. And when we're in that place, and it doesn't have to be this huge, like, oh my gosh, I'm having a crisis. Sometimes it does play out like that when you're like, I hate my life. What am I doing? How did I get here? Sometimes it's like, I just feel this constant state of like, meh, life is okay. And you're feeling like something is missing. This idea of like fulfillment just isn't existing. It's just not a thing. Work isn't fulfilling. Maybe a relationship isn't fulfilling. Maybe life is just generally like, nah, it's okay. Like, it's good. When people ask you how you're doing, oh, let's catch up. How have you been? And what you're saying is like, oh, it's great. Things are good. Things are fine. Everything's good. And in your mind, you're like, yeah, my life is like nothing to brag about. Like, I'm not excited about catching up with people because I don't want to tell them that my life isn't anything special. If that's where you're at, this is the perfect time to be doing that work around your purpose, around like, maybe I should have a mission. What would that look like? If you had a mission driving you, if you had a purpose that you designed that meant something to you, that you decided to take on, when people ask you, how's life? Your answer is going to be a lot different. You'll be like, oh my gosh, it's awesome because I'm doing all these things and I'm like feeling so good about every day. And it just, everything changes once you have something driving you. So if I were to ask you, what's your purpose? What's your mission? What would you say? And if you have one, how did you come to that? How did you come to that purpose? How did you come to that mission? For a lot of people, it's religion. They take on whatever their religion says their purpose in life is, and they take that on as their own. It's fine. But a lot of people would be like, what are you talking about? I don't have a mission. Or they would reference something about the purpose of life, the meaning of life, and speak in very general terms. The thing is, a few years ago, like if you had asked me, what my purpose in life is, or what my mission in life is, first of all, you wouldn't recognize me. I'm like a completely different person to who I was a few years ago. And that's like a whole other video. But anyway, if you were to ask me, like, what's my purpose in life? What's my mission in life? I would have, remember, this is a few years ago, I would have made a joke because I would have felt really uncomfortable when I deal with, when I'm uncomfortable. Sometimes I make jokes about it. I would say, I don't have a mission, and kind of look at you like you were the weird one. And then I would probably say, well, I guess the purpose of life is to, find something you love and do it and make a good living out of it. And I would have like blabbled on in very generic terms. I would have told you, I guess the purpose of life is. I wouldn't have answered, the purpose of my life is, or the mission that I've decided to take on or that I'm pursuing is. I would have not made it about me. I would have been really awkward, and I would have been really like kind of embarrassed, being like, I'm just this person who doesn't have a mission or a purpose. And the thing is, like, that's really common. That's really common because we don't talk about having a purpose. We don't talk about having a mission. We talk about getting good grades, getting into a good college, working for an amazing company, or, if you're going the tech route, starting your own amazing, the next industry disruptor. And that's what we focus on. We talk about making a lot of money and getting a big house and marrying someone, hopefully, gorgeous and successful, and you live happily ever after. Oh, hey, Jill. Hi. All right. Bye. Thanks for stopping by. This will be on, I'll keep this up here later, and I'll put it on YouTube too. I would have been really awkward if you had asked me that question, because it's not something I ever would have thought about before. And it's more, we talk in terms of like having a good life in terms of, what do we have? What materialistically do we have? Do you have a house? Do you have a good job? What is your job title? Who do you hang out with? We talk about our success of our life relative to external things. We don't talk about, what is your particular purpose? What are you looking to achieve in life? Who are you looking to help? Or what kind of legacy are you looking to build? That's that really like deep, heavy stuff that no one really likes to talk about, because no one has a good answer for it. Or they haven't done the work, or they haven't thought about it, or they've thought about it and come up with nothing, and they feel bad about it, so they don't want to talk about it. And when you feel like you don't have a purpose, that sucks. That sucks a lot. And that doesn't make you want to do anything other than maybe, like, if you were in my shoes a few years ago, would have made you want to like get out of that conversation as quickly as possible. So here's the thing. Like I said earlier, I believe we can all choose our purpose. There's one thing to be like, what's the purpose of the human race? What's the purpose of life in general? We can talk about stuff like that. But I believe we can choose our own mission. We can choose to take on a purpose that drives us forward and that shapes how we move through life. And like I said earlier, every little decision starts to be impacted and influenced by that purpose that you've decided to take on. And it means everything to you because you're the one who designed it. You're the one who has said, this is a worthy enough mission for me to devote who I am to. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna devote myself to the Peace Corps. I'm gonna go live and build houses and schools and, completely change my life and just peace out on like how normal life is here, or how your regular life, whatever it looks like now, that you're just gonna bail on it and go, chase dolphins somewhere. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what kind of impact are you looking to make in the world? I'm talking the deep stuff. A lot of times we put the how before the why, like we choose the action before we choose the reason for the action. And it's so backwards because we're all of a sudden we're going down this path and just acting, moving. And next thing you know, We're like, why was I doing all this in the first place? Because it sounded good, or it was a good opportunity. This idea of it's a good opportunity, I feel like gets us into so many different circumstances where we're like, yeah, it was a good opportunity and it looked great on paper. That happened to me for like 3 different jobs. But anyway, I'm kind of going on a tangent now. So yes, I believe that we design our own purpose and we design our own mission. And I also, kind of corollary to that, one of my favorite words, I also believe that that purpose changes as life goes on. I believe it changes as you have different experiences, as you meet different people, as different things happen in the world, that your purpose is gonna change. And that's okay, that's cool, because your purpose is, gonna be related to a lot of different things. Who you are at the time, chances are who you are this year, today, is very different than who you were 5 years ago. Maybe for some of us, even 1 year ago. It's a lot different. We're a lot different. There's so many different factors that play into how you choose the purpose you do, how you choose the mission you have agreed to take on, and this mission that you have designed for yourself to devote your life to. And the thing is, it changes, but I also believe it can be super difficult to come to a purpose in the first place. So step 1 is figuring it out and designing it, knowing that that might change and will probably change in the future, but it's good enough and it means enough and it's worthy enough for you to devote your life to today, now. So coming to that purpose can be a lot of work, especially if you have no idea what you're doing, if you've never tried this before, if you've never even thought about having a mission or looking into what your purpose is. It can be a lot of work and it can be very confusing. It can be kind of disheartening to be like, I don't have a mission, I don't have a mission. You go through life feeling like I have no purpose. I'm trying to figure it out, but if I'm trying to figure it out, that means I don't have one right now. And that can be, for some people, very discouraging and disheartening. So it can be kind of a rough ride. And that's, and the thing is that without a purpose, you'll be okay. Like, you're not going to die because you don't have a purpose or a mission. And most people just go ahead and live that way. You're like, well, now I have this job and this other opportunity came along, so I took that job. And, you kind of ping pong your way through the career track. And next thing you know, it's like, well, I'm 65. I guess I'm supposed to retire now. And now that I'm retired, I guess I'll just play golf for the rest of my life. Because it's what's expected of us. It's the narrative that we assume our life is going to take, because we don't, 1, see alternatives, or 2, have anything driving us. It's very easy to go through life on autopilot, whether we mean to or not. The thing is, if you want to do the work, if you want to live in a way where you're coming from something that's driving you, something that's like pushing you forward, it does take work, because part of that process requires you to know yourself at a much deeper level than you might know yourself now. And that journey inwards and that kind of recognition of who you are can, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it takes work. And what I do in terms of helping people carve out that path for themselves, carve out this path where they know this is the direction they want to head in, instead of this is the direction that I'm just drifting in because my decisions up to now in life have led me here, so I'm just going to keep going this way. Carving out that path on purpose and intentionally, carving out a path also that means something to you, and that's not just what looks good on paper or what sounds like the right thing to do, and a path that actually benefits the world in some way, where we're not just existing and hoping that we don't damage the world or do bad things or whatever, have a negative impact, that actually actively has a positive impact that benefits the world or your community or someone other than yourself and your nuclear family. That's the stuff that I live for. That's the stuff that I get super excited about. For me, it's one big giant playground. If you think about think about life as like a sandbox. It's kind of like we're all getting in the sandbox together and we're deciding this is the type of sandcastle that we want to build, and this is what makes sense to me, and this is what it is, and it's going to shift and you can change it and all of that. And this is like the joy that comes out of that when people do the work and when people put in the time and effort to give themselves the time of day, to give their worth and their capabilities the time of day, and seeing that shine, like that is the most fulfilling thing in the world. This is why I'm like so obsessed with what I do. But anyway, so it's fun. It's a lot of work, but what comes out of it is that you feel fulfilled. You feel like there is a point to life. You feel like you know where your next steps are going to be, or how you want to place those next steps. Because we don't really know, how life is going to turn out. There's stuff that's happening outside of our control all the time. But we know how we want to move forward. And that feeling of conviction, that feeling of like self-knowledge and self-appreciation is like amazing. If you haven't felt it, it's amazing. So I'm super pumped. So let me go back to the 3 programs that I put together. So one is called Spark, one is called Glow, one is called Blaze. And they're in increasing intensity, like I said. Spark is 3 months. And you start to see it. So here's the thing with like when you do coaching programs and coaching partnerships, you start to see some change at 3 months. You start to see new habits and sustained change at 6 months. So Spark is only 3 months, and it's I should have the website some here. I'll put the link there because I don't want to miss anything. But the thing is that Spark is designed to spark something within you, to get you a taste of what, sorry, now, of course, my nose starts to run. So it's supposed to give you a taste of what getting support around your dreams could feel like, could look like. If you've never worked with a coach before, if you've never had someone help you create goals, do the work, understand yourself at a deeper level. If you've never worked with anyone at that level, this is just designed to give you a taste. It's 2 half-hour calls a month for 3 months. And there's a bunch of other stuff there too, but that's essentially what it is. It's designed to be an introduction to what it's like to work with me, someone who's going to be as obsessed with your dreams as you are. The next 2 are called Glow and Blaze, and they're both 6 months each. And we're talking strategy sessions and goal setting sessions. We're talking multiple 1-hour calls for twice a month for Glow and every week for Blaze. I'm serious. Like, I will be as obsessed with your goals as you are. If we're having a 1-hour call every single week to bring your purpose to light and to help you live that purpose across your dreams, like, you better believe I'm invested. Glow is 2 1-hour calls a month, and again, both are for 6 months. So because Glow and Blaze are 6 months and they're quite intensive, I only have 4 openings for each of them, because otherwise I would be stretched too thin and I wouldn't be able to support more people. I'm more flexible with Spark because it is a shorter program and it is a shorter number of, face-to-face time that we have. But still, it's not going to be like, 50 different clients on Spark. So for Glow and Blaze, the 6 months programs, I do only have 4 openings each for them. And then if you're interested in Spark, absolutely let me know. I do have much more room for that. I would love for us to keep that momentum around your resolutions if you made resolutions. I'd love to run with this spirit of new year, new you, like this time of year, whether you've made resolutions or not. This is such a good time to be soaking all of that energy around you, soaking it up. People are reinventing themselves all over the place right now. This is the time. Truly, you have permission to reinvent yourself at any time. It doesn't have to be New Year's. It's just that New Year's, everyone else is doing it too. And so this kind of collective spirit of let's recreate and let's see how amazing we can make 2018 look. take advantage of that. This is like the great time. Why do you think gym memberships soar in January? Because everyone's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to look awesome for the summertime. And then you start to see in February and March, gym attendance, it's way down. Like that's how the gym memberships work. There's a massive spike at the beginning of the year because everyone has that mindset. And when you work with me, by the way, you understand how serious mindset is. Like, this is no joke. I drill that into your head. So yeah, take advantage, fresh start. So now is literally the perfect time to take you and to take your goals seriously. So when you're not taking yourself seriously, that means you're just going through the motions. You're just on the hamster wheel, like, well, going to work, picking up the kids, rinse and repeat. And before you know it, it's going to be June. It's almost February already. Before you know it, it's going to be, where did the year go? Oh my goodness, I didn't do any of my resolutions. I haven't changed anything about my life. If you get there, that's going to be massively disappointing. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anybody. You have so much opportunity to be doing amazing stuff, not just for yourself, but for your community, for the world. And it might sound super scary and be like, no, I don't have time for that. I don't have time, or I don't have money for that. And the thing is, when we talk about giving back to the world, or we talk about making a positive contribution to society, we are programmed to think that means that I have to volunteer more and then I have to donate money. And the thing is, that's like, yes, okay, you could do that. That's such a small piece of how you can be an amazing contribution. You can be the contribution to society. And this is what I do. It's not just about like, what is my life purpose, which is huge. First of all, let me not, undercut that. But you living your purpose in such a way that inspires others and that creates this beautiful impact on a larger scale outside of you and outside of your nuclear family, you have no idea what could be possible. And that's what I get excited knowing about. Right? That's what I get excited discovering with you and designing with you. So no one else is going to be as obsessed with your goals as you are. And if you're not obsessed with your goals, you're not setting the right goals because they don't mean anything to you. And so what I do is help you find something that means something to you. Okay? So if you have any questions about any of this, let me know. If you're interested in my 6-month programs, like I said, for the 2 of them, I only have 4 spaces for each of them. For the 3-month Spark program, that's I do have more flexibility there, but again, pretty great time to get that momentum going. So if you want to sign up for it, you should probably do it sooner than later because everyone around you is reinventing themselves, and this is such a great time. Hi, Keith. Oh, good. I'm glad it's been an amazing year so far. I'm so happy to hear that. And I'll see you Saturday, by the way, for the mastermind. I've been out sick, but I'm coming back. So yeah, so think about this. I hope this struck a chord with you. I know a lot of times we don't like talking about things like, what is your purpose? Because it can be kind of a touchy subject. It can kind of strike a nerve with like, I don't have a purpose, or I have no idea what my mission is, or I don't, I just barely hang on to life at this point. So I get it. It can be kind of painful to talk about it, or it can be something that you feel like, I just don't have the time. I'm just barely keeping up with my hamster wheel already as it is. I don't have the time for personal development. But the thing is, it is worth the attention that you give it. And it deserves more of that attention. So I'm here. If you want help, if you want support, if you just want to chat, I'm here. Reach out to me. And if you are interested in any of these programs, let me know, and I'll get you the right information. We can have a phone call, whatever. So hope you guys are having a fabulous 2018 so far, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.